Hi, Miss Rua. Hi, colleagues. Hi, friends. Now, today we're going to do our first lesson on Nhemamusasa, Nhemamusasa yePasi. And what I already did was post an excellent example of Munyakudirwa, Musekiwa Chingodza, playing Nhemamusasa yePasi and singing beautiful lyrics. We recorded this in Marondera a few weeks back. Now, so Nhemamusasa yePasi, the naming is not consistent. So some mean Nhemamusasa yePasi means that played from the bottom going up. Pasi means the bottom notes. So that's one explanation. But others take Pasi to be a shortcut for Nhemamusasa pchigwedere, meaning the ancient version of Nhemamusasa. And then there is also what is called Nhemamusasa yekutanga, which is a totally different song. But some take this version to be Nhemamusasa yekutanga. Others take the different song, which sometimes is called Bukari Nemawara, as Nhemamusasa yekutanga. Others just call it Nhemamusasa, and as you will see, it is a direct derivation of Nhemamusasa. But what I want to introduce is what we may call the concept of complexity. Now, if we start out with a rhythm, what we call the kushaura part of Nhemamusasa, what we're playing on the left side is, so each phrase has 6 notes, and then what we're playing on the right, there are also 6 notes on the right, and then we're playing them alternating. Now, if the concept of complexity is just how many notes you can fit into a phrase, so we're starting at 6. When we did what we call the kutsinira part, and on the left side, so we now have 8 notes. This is 4, 8. And so the kutsinira part that we did now has 8 notes per phrase, and we could say it's a more complex version of playing that same song, the Nhemamusasa. And so in that sense, Nhemamusasa yePasi is just a more complex version, a more complex kushaura version of Nhemamusasa with 9 notes, on the left. It also has 9 notes on the right, but for this lesson, I want us to get to deriving the 9 notes on the left, and then we do a lesson where we add another 3 notes per phrase to have 9 notes on the right. And when we play the full version, we'll have 9 notes on the left, 9 notes on the right, and we'll clearly see that it is a more complex version of playing the kushaura part. Now, so what I want us to do is we start out with the kushaura part, and then we can do the full cycle. Now, this is the full cycle of the kushaura part. So what I want us to do first is just to add a note. For these 2 notes, we add a 3rd note, and we do nothing. We are not changing anything on the right side. And so the way we are playing. So what we will do is when we play the first netete, we also play a note on the left side. So you go. So for this first netete, we are accompanying it with a note on the left. So and then next is note on the left side. So it becomes. So instead of, it becomes just that at the beginning of each phrase. So And then when we start the second phrase, So that is why some people call this doubling, because what we're essentially doing is playing this twice. But doubling only refers to this first step, because you can later on choose a different note. So if we count, now we have, this is 3 notes plus 2 plus another 2. So we're at 7 notes. So the rhythm is still Nhemamusasa, the kushaura part, but we've added a note to make 7 notes on the left. Now we can quickly skip to, we are adding just in the first part, but we can do it also for the mid part of the phrase and the last part of the phrase. And we do it for all the phrases. So we can go back to the single notes, go back to the doubling, now I'm mixing singles and doubles. All notes doubled. And you can play with any netetes that you know. We can go back to the singles. So what we've done is add notes to the left side. We from 6, and where we had 2, now we have 3. So 3, 6, 9. So we now have 9 notes on the left. So this is what I'm referring to by complexity. We have basically the same melody, but we've fitted in a few more notes into each phrase, and therefore this is a more complex way of playing the Nhemamusasa kushaura. Now, so this is the first step. Now, the second step is that we, in fact, there are a few things that you can experiment on your own. So what we do, we're doubling the bottom one. You could choose to double the top one. but what the step that I want as the second step is we play. So instead of, so we go and we do the exactly. So again, and then we use this pattern. So this is the first phrase, second phrase, third phrase, and we can go back to this. So what the three notes we started with, now we're just going. And then the last step that gets us to what we'll play as the Nhemamusasa yePasi is, instead of, we start from here. So this becomes the first part. This is the first phrase. First phrase. Second phrase. Again. And then the third phrase. Last phrase. Now, so once we've gotten to this stage, the normal Nhemamusasa notes, we're playing them from the bottom. So, and we've added this note, so that is why it is called Nhemamusasa yePasi. These kushaura notes, we are playing them from the bottom going up, and we've added this first note. So we can go back to this. We can go back to what we call doubling. We can play the Nhemamusasa kushaura netete that back to the normal kushaura. So this is it. So for this lesson, what we've done is just added one note to each part of each phrase, each 1/3 part. So where we have 2 notes, we're going, and we've had some few variations, so you can go, or you can do. So we now have 3 notes instead of 2, and instead of 6 notes per phrase, we now have 9 notes. That's why we're calling it a more complex version of the kushaura part. And then we've done nothing on the netetes, so the biggest part of the lesson is just learning how to combine 3 notes, and then you could continue with that style for everything. And when you have chosen 3 different notes, so this is it for this lesson. Now, I want us to go back to where we started. We started by learning Pfumvuparuzeva, and then said Pfumvuparuzeva is the first phrase and the last phrase of Nhemamusasa. Now that we have a complex way, or a more complex way of playing the Nhemamusasa kushaura, we can also use that to enrich Pfumvuparuzeva by taking the first phrase and the last phrase. So we can go. This is the first phrase, and then we take the last phrase. So we can use this to enrich our Pfumvuparuzeva. But for today, we've taken the first step towards developing the Nhemamusasa yePasi. Thank you.